Billions in federal research dollars never reached the lab because of overhead costs. The Trump administration tried to rein them in, but federal judges blocked the move. Deputy Public Policy Editor of OpenTheBooks.com, Rachel O'Brien, joining us this morning to show us where that money's really going. Good morning to you. Great to see you. These overhead costs cover things like administration, utilities, support staff. They have a massive share of federal research grants. How much money are we talking about?
Yeah, it's amazing. So overhead expenses are automatically added on to grants, and they add between 50 and 70% on top of each grant. So $1 million research grant turns into a 1.5 or 1.6 or $7 million grant. So the NIH and other agencies, they are trying to slash that overhead spending to 15%. But the universities and other research institutions that benefit from it, they've sued. And so while overhead spending is reported on grant proposals and progress reports, there's actually no public record of the actual spending. So we only have estimates to work with. And schools negotiate these rates directly. Each school can be different. So we looked at 5 prestigious public universities: UNC Chapel Hill, UVA, University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, and the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and Rutgers. Now, of that group, Ann Arbor had the most potential overhead funding. So listen to this. The university received $9.4 billion in research funding in the last 10 years. Their negotiated overhead rate was between 55 and 56%. So we can estimate that they pulled in as much as $3.2 billion of that for overhead funding.
That's crazy. And we know it's not just overhead. That's just one piece of the problem. Where else is this research money going, Rachel?
Yeah, it's so little of it goes to actual research in a lab. So National Science Foundation, they include what they call broader impact criteria in their grants to broaden participation in STEM, to foster inclusion. A lot of the activities that scientists actually have to do would be considered fluff. They have to go into middle schools and high schools and do lab demonstrations. They have to do podcasts and museum exhibit design. That's now part of their research spending.
What is this? You mentioned inclusion. What's the inclusion requirement?
That's exactly right. So now a lot of them do have this inclusion requirement. They've got to, sort of include underserved minorities for activities in the research funds, women. It further embeds the DEI ideology, and that's required in most of these grants. And so while NSF is the only one that has this specific broader impacts criteria, other agencies have similar criteria. They take funds and time away from scientific research.
So what's the latest on the Trump administration's push to try to cut overhead rates to 15%?
Yeah, so the judges keep stopping it. Last February, the NIH said it would set that 15% cap. A district judge in Massachusetts issued a temporary pause. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the First Circuit last week, they affirmed it. It's unclear whether the NIH is going to appeal. And then you have the Departments of Energy, Defense, and the NSF. They've all had similar caps. They've all been blocked. So in 2023 alone, the federal government gave $60 billion in research grants. 22 of that went to overhead costs. If you were using a 53% overhead estimate, if you bring that down to 15%, you're saving $14 billion that could be used for more direct funding for scientific research. And that's what these grants are for. So that's what the Trump administration is arguing.
All right. Great to see you so much this morning, Rachel. And we look forward to learning more about some more of your reports. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
You too. Thanks for having me, Jan.